Who should be Texas A&M's starting quarterback against Arkansas? And maybe just throughout the rest of the college football season. If you've been following this show, you know I feel very strongly on this. Now, our sample size is small, but I feel pretty strongly about my take here when it comes to who should be the guy at A&M. We'll talk about it right now. Make sure you're subscribed to the On3 YouTube channel. Texas A&M fans, we love y'all. We're glad to have y'all a part of this. Now, I know a lot of y'all are saying, JD, I get my coverage from TexAgs. Y'all, I love TexAgs. I mean, they do phenomenal work over there. So have that, then also subscribe here. Okay, so you have some extra coverage, if you will, of your Aggies. So appreciate y'all being subscribed. The Hard Count brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Daily fantasy, made easy. You pick 2 or more player projections. Pick the more or less on those projections. You're off to the races. We have a play for you in this segment. All right, so stay tuned for that. But if you use code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups gives you $50 in promo funds. All right, so again, we have that play for you a little bit later. But appreciate y'all using that code and appreciate y'all rocking with us. So here's my take on this whole thing. I think if you're watching strictly from like a pro day setting, and I say this a lot when we break down quarterback battles and discussions, you look at Connor Weigman, guy's a 5-star recruit, has a presence in the pocket, played a lot of college football to this point, or at least compared to a Marcel Reed. There's a lot of logic you could use to make an argument for Connor Weigman, and you wouldn't be wrong in making that argument. That wouldn't be subpar logic. But to me, I look at Texas A&M, and I think your answer to this question is dictated by your situation. What do you need at A&M? Do you need a guy who's going to be a distributor of the football to get out to guys in space and let them work? Maybe at times. Is that going to be your bread and butter of this offense? Not to knock the A&M skill players, but that's not how I would feel personally. Do you need a guy to just be a pocket presence and push the ball downfield? Again, maybe you do feel that way, but from what I can tell, the situation does not call for that. What I think A&M needs is someone to breathe life into this offense, to be a power source for this offense. I don't need a guy who's going to just get the ball to playmakers. I need a guy who is a playmaker. And from what I can gauge now, small sample size, I understand, but Marcel Reed is that dude. Marcel Reed needs to be the guy for A&M today, Junior. He needs to be the guy for the rest of the college football season. And that's not me being out on Connor Weigman. Again, this is just what I believe the circumstances dictate. How often, as a Texas A&M fan, have you watched your offense and been like, man, it just doesn't look right. It looks stale. It looks stagnant. It looks sluggish. And then you watch Marcel Reed out there, whether it be in the swamp, whether it be against a Bowling Green, and maybe he's not perfect yet. Maybe he's not a finished product, and I'm more than cool with that. Guy's still a freshman, but like, you can tell there's some extra juice with him. When you watch him playing quarterback, you hold your breath a little bit. Why? Because you're excited. Because you know that if he decides to tuck it and run, a big play could very much so happen. He brings dead plays back to life with his legs. Plays that would be a sack with a less mobile quarterback is potentially going to be a gain of 5, maybe even more with Marcel Reed playing quarterback. And he's proven that now, running for not quite 100 yards just yet in his young college career, or at least in the 2024 season, but he's flirted with it. Been in the 80s, been in the 90s. Like, he's a guy now that I think you need to watch here going forward that could breathe life again into this Texas A&M offense. Maybe he's not in the 90s. He's in that range. You hear me? He's in the 80s. The direction of modern college football, I believe, is trending towards having a playmaker at quarterback. We've seen that. Okay, guys that are able to both run and throw the football effectively, typically, just by the way this whole thing is trending, give their teams the best chance to win. Also, it gives your coordinator the most flexibility. And we've talked about that a few times, but like the creativity you can dial up with Marcel Reed at quarterback, I think in itself is a reason to make him your guy. Because when he's playing quarterback as a defense, I have to understand it might be quarterback draw. It might be read option. It might be he rolls out and we have to respect the run with the fact that he's out on the perimeter, and then we also have guys behind us. We have to honor that. Like, again, not to be down on Connor Weigman, I don't have those concerns of him on defense when he's back there. Not saying he can't still help you and be the right guy for you eventually, but like, I don't think right now with the skill players you have and the situation you find yourself in year one of the Mike Elko era, I don't think that's where you are. I think Marcel Reed, again, the playmaker at quarterback, the power source, the life to the offense, that's what I want to see. Okay? Going back to what I just said, year one of the Mike Elko era. A&M, it's not a rebuild. It is a reboot. We said that a lot on the show. But I think there are some teams on your schedule now that just by nature of having a first-year head coach, there's some teams that are ahead of you. Missouri, LSU, Texas. And by that logic, I don't think it's irresponsible to say their rosters in some ways are ahead of you. Not by a ton, because A&M's acquired talent at a high level, but still, the fact remains the same. I think those schools and some others are ahead of you. So how do you make up for some ground you lost? Play calling, sure. Culture, sure. Having your talent play above its level, sure. I think the most obvious answer, the most direct answer is you got a quarterback. Have a quarterback that can make up for that ground. Have a quarterback be the differentiating factor, because that's the beautiful part about college football, man. You got a quarterback, you got a chance. Any Saturday. You got a quarterback just takes over, especially a mobile quarterback, that could be the difference. You might have the right defense dialed up. You might have the blitz just right. You might have all the matchups you want, but guess what? That doesn't matter when the play breaks down, scramble drill, and he makes something happen. Just the way it goes. Just the way it goes. So, when it comes to our prize picks plays here, Le'Veon Moss, 80.5 rush yards is his number against Arkansas. I think that when you look at Arkansas's defense, they allowed 6 yards a carry last week against Auburn. If Marcel Reed starts, yes, that probably cuts down on Le'Veon Moss's touches, you would think, but at the exact same time, just because Marcel Reed would factor into the run game, but at the exact same time, I think it also divides the attention a defense can give to Le'Veon Moss, because you're worried about Marcel Reed getting around the edge. So I'm going to take Le'Veon Moss with the more than 80.5 rush yards, and I'll pair that with the Caleb Williams free square. Use code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups, $50 in promo funds. And feel free to tail us there. If you want to fade us, even better. Be our guest. So we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Let me know who you want to be the guy at A&M this year playing quarterback for you in College Station. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all.